Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, my haunted journal edition. If you're new here, this is just my journal where I casually yap about what's going on in my life, especially anything supernatural I'm experiencing. I also share channel updates, everyday life with my boyfriend, and thoughts on things in media like true crime. Though the supernatural is usually always the main focus. On this channel, you'll find three types of content: this haunted journal series, short short mini mysteries, which you can find on my short tabs. I just dropped one the other day, and longer investigative deep dive videos as well. So if you're interested in anything like that, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Alrighty, so usually how I do kicking off the channel is I usually just do personal updates, updates on the channel, and things I'm enjoying entertainment wise. Sometimes I do start going into more of a supernatural discussion based on that information. Um, I don't really know if I'm going to do that today, to be honest. We'll see where it takes me. But I am going to do some updates on just the channel as well as updates on entertainment things that are coming out that I'm very excited about. And then I do have some supernatural topics that I know I want to discuss, and I will put timestamps down below if you want to not hear about my video gaming enjoyment and my Netflix series I'm looking forward to. So I will put a timestamp down below, but let's get into it real quick. Oh, and I do have a personal supernatural update. It's small, but it does have to deal with things that have been ongoing. So I'll do a summation of things that have been ongoing as well as include any updates with that. So keep that in mind if you're into the supernatural things. There will be actual updates of stuff that's going on with me and then just other supernatural topics that I have on my head. All right. So now let's get into it. Okay, so one thing I'm excited that's coming out on Netflix is a four-part documentary series narrated by Morgan Freeman and executive produced by Steven Spielberg. And then just a summation of it is the show takes viewers back to prehistoric Earth, starting when dinosaurs first appeared in the Jurassic period, and following them through their rise, evolution, and eventual extinction. And it's going to use a modern CGI and scientific research to recreate dinosaurs like the ty- Tyrann. I can't talk. Tyrannosaurus and Stegosaurus, and show how they lived, hunted, and interacted. And then it'll eventually go into the mass extinction that event that wiped them out about 66 million years ago. Um, so I'm very excited about this. Both me and Kermie, we're nerds. We're both like he's very excited about it. I didn't realize how I was excited about it until a little while ago. But he's a nerd. He's my Kumi and he's my nerd, and I love him for it. So we're gonna watch that. And I'm very excited for it too. I think dinosaurs and the dinosaur period is very interesting. I don't know too much about it. Like I'm someone that'll get like really into like I got really into the ocean for a while because I think it's crazy how we've only discovered so much of it. Like I think it's like 5 to 7% now. It's ridiculous. Um, and it's just the stuff like that just amazes me. And I think the dinosaur, like the space and uh the oceans and ocean life and stuff like that, like deep ocean life and deep space and understanding the dinosaur period. They're interesting, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we're gonna watch that on Friday. We'll let you know how we like it. And if you watch it too, next time we discuss the documentary, please leave your comments of what you thought about it. But that's what I'm looking forward to as TV wise goes. There are some spooky movies I know that are coming out soon. I know Scream came out. The most recent Scream came out. I'm a big fan of that franchise. Obviously, the earlier films you can't beat that. It's just something about the time and place and the writers and everything. You just can't replace the original Screams. Like the first three, like fantastic. I think the second one was so good. But you can't like, you can't redo them, but I'm still glad they make them. But yeah, I'm going to definitely check that out probably when it comes out available to streaming platforms, but I'm excited about that. Um Yeah, there were some other ones. I just can't think on the top of my head because that wasn't what I was mainly going to discuss. I was going to pivot over to video games. Haha. So, okay, so then we're going to get into, like I said, video games. Um, the new game that I've been playing is called Crypt Custodian, and it's basically follows Pluto, a mischievous cat who just died and wakes up in the afterlife, and then he meets a guardian who judges the dead. Things go badly, and he's banished from the afterlife's palace and sentenced to clean it forever as a janitor. And then he's armed with nothing but a broom. Pluto explores a strange, colorful underworld filled with ghost creatures and other unlucky souls who are also rejected from the paradise. Along the way, he sweeps away corruption, fights monsters, solves puzzles, and befriends other characters while trying to uncover the mysteries of the afterlife and possibly find a way to escape his internal punishment. Um, and the game is like a top-down Metrovania, where you can explore large interconnected worlds and then gain new abilities and defeat bosses and unlock new areas. Um, and it has like the Hollow Knight vibe, and it's with cute and cozy humor, and it's set in an afterlife. It's just really fun to play. The bosses are they're challenging in a way. Like they're not simple bosses. The gameplay's fun, the bosses are fun. You can repeat the bosses. So say like you like to play boss fights, like you're able to, once you defeat a boss, they'll have like a section in the main screen where you can go, boss fight, and then they'll just take you straight to those bosses and you can practice on them. It's really, really fun. The creator is great. His name is Kyle Thompson. And like I said, he's an indie creator. His from I looked him up, and his brother also makes the music. So I think it's cute how they do like a duo. Um, and yeah, and so most of his games are characters exploring mysterious worlds. And he is coming out with a new video this year. I don't know when. It just says 2026 on stream, but I don't know what it's called. I just downloaded it. I'm trying to become a gamer, y'all. Steam. It's called Steam. See, trying to get the lingo. It's on Steam. Which I don't. I play with my Xbox app thingy, but I don't know. I'm trying to like connect them. It's this whole thing I don't want to do, but I'm figuring it out. But um, excuse me. Uh, in 2026 it's supposed to come out. I watched the trailer. I will put it linked down below if you're interested. Also keep in mind I do updates on my threads at supernatural underscore signals, which also my Instagram if you're interested in following me there. I am posting more to my stories of just like my personal life and what's going on there. So if you're interested in creeping on someone, you're more than welcome to creep that way. um, but yeah, so I'm very excited for that. It's called Well Dweller, and you play Glimmer, who is a tiny bird living deep inside a dark fantasy world at the bottom of a mysterious well. When a cruel queen threatens the land, Glimmer sets out on a dangerous journey to save his family and challenge the queen's rule. Armed with only his little matchstick, the bird explores twisted fairy tale kingdom full of monsters, puzzles, secrets, and strange characters. Along the way, you collect upgrades, fight bosses, and uncover the mysteries behind the decaying world. Um, and again, it's going to be a Metrovania. And if you're unsure what Metrovania is because you're new to video games, like I was, you know what I mean. You unlock abilities and open new areas. So it's like one of those things where like you start discovering worlds and you can't get in certain areas until you get a new skill or a key or something like that. So you have to explore other areas in order to get the keys, or sometimes fight bosses, or et cetera, et cetera. So it's like something where it's not just like a linear path, right? It has a cute animal protagonist, as we said. And this one seems like a little more darker than Crypt Custodian. It seems a little bit has like, I mean, it's still whimsical and it's still cute and it's still character driven, but it seems like the undertones are a little bit more darker in still a cute way, right? So I'm excited. It's going to be expected on Nintendo Switch and PC with Top Hat Studios. So He also did Sheepo, Islets, which Sheepo is a shape-shifting creature. Islets is a warrior on floating islands. And then Crypt Custodian, we already talked about, and Well Dweller. So I haven't played the previous two, but I might check those out as well. Um, Also coming up in the summer is that Reanimals is going to do an expansion on their not Tarsier Studios, sorry. It's going to do an expansion on Reanimals, which I'm very excited about that. I did a whole review and then idea of the supernatural and how it relates to that game on a previous podcast, so check that out if you would like. But yeah, so those are the video games that I'm enjoying. Still doing Hollow Knight, Silk Song. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go really back to that. Honestly, it just I don't know, not for me. I don't think the game's very fair. That's my opinion on it. But I Hollow Knight, I played a little bit this morning, and I don't know, I just get such a cozy feeling. Like I I don't know. I feel like with Silk Song I was like in a rush to play because it was so much combat, and with Hollow Knight it's like I don't feel that way. Like I just feel like I'm playing, even though it's a challenging Metroid game or whatever you want to call it, Metrovania game, I still don't feel like I'm in this like rush to finish it. And with Silk Song, it just every room was just another thing, and I would just like I mentally I can't do that. If that's for you, you go game game. But I think I stick with my little baby Hollow Knight, and that makes me happy. So I played a little bit today. Still working on that. um, and yeah, so that's updates on that. All right, let's jump into a little bit of the Nancy Guthrie case before we move into supernatural updates. Um, Nancy Guthrie, there's still not much updates. I don't know what's going on with that case. Um, I think it's one of those things. It appears, and like I said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so all this is an assumption. And I'm sure the police have a very stressful job. I'm sure the people the detectives are racking their brains, and I hope the ones that are just doing their job, trying to do it well, no egos involved, just trying to get Nancy home, are resting their head at night and getting rest too and taking care of themselves, right? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you know, you can't help anyone, right? Um, and it's okay to have a cry. I will say that. I don't think the police have time to rest, and if you like I don't know, like the people that are like doing their job, the job's hard enough, right? Like it's so many things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I do think there's a leadership problem in the police, which will kind of pivot into my discussion later on about the supernatural and how they can kind of relate to the police. I did just do a mini short that kind of like talked about how the supernatural worked with the police, right? Um, you know, I think it's like I feel like in in that type of role with the police, and just not even just the police but anything in the government that has authority and like are supposed to investigate cases and have a lot of power, right? Which leads to a lot of responsibility. There are Spider-Man. Like I feel like being open to help and knowing, not even, I don't even want to say the word help, right? It's just using your resources, right? Like it's like in video games again. If I can't get past something, right? I was playing Crypt Custodian yesterday and I was like, why can't I jump in this area? I'm like, oh crap, I must have to get a jump thingy, like you know what I mean, like things. So I'm like, okay, let me go get that, and then I'll use my resource to do the jump thingy. I'm not gonna keep trying to kill myself over and over again trying to make this jump without the jump thingy, right? And like and like I kind of feel like I really wish at the beginning of that case, and I know it's we don't know if this is what happened. It's just rumors and assumptions and things like that. So take it for a grain of salt. I really wish as soon as they realized this case wasn't just an older person wandering because of health issues, they saw the blood, they contacted the FBI. I really do. And it's nothing against their investigation skills, right? It's, again, I take it back, and I know video games are not the same as police investigations. I'm not that dumb. Please, don't be that ignorant and me making that assumption. I'm just using it as an analogy, right? It's like I like just to get the way how far I am in Hollow Knight. I watched video games. I practiced. I watch tutorials. I watch people that are 10 times better than me do something because that's what they do. They've been playing video games forever, right? Like that's their wheelhouse, just like their information about their city and how the people work is their wheelhouse, right? And then you combine those things and then you get something going. And I think opening those doors to get those resources is smart. It's nothing to do with your ego, it's nothing to do with saying help. It's smart, right? It's like that's a good strategic move as you're trying to figure out this case, you know? And I don't know. I don't know what happened in the police world where it's like they always feel like, and another thing I always keep hearing on this case over and over and over again is that these people weren't good criminals. Well, then are y'all good detectives? And I'm saying this with respect because obviously you are. Obviously, the people in the FBI are educated and smart. But you're telling me, you keep saying this over and over again, that these criminals weren't smart. They looked, maybe they were pretending to be crappy, right? Like maybe that was a distraction, right? Like, it's like, and again, I'm not saying maybe these guys are buffoons, but at the same time, the buffoons got away with something major, right? And that's not their fault. I mean, it's their fault for doing it in the first place, but then there's something going on. If y'all can catch, if you, basically you're saying y'all should have catched them easier, and it's like why not? And then one guy replied, "Oh, it was luck." No, no, I don't think so. Not in today's age. Not in today's age. And I think Savannah and her family, and I'm saying this again respectfully, but I feel like someone has to say it from what I've been watching. She should be a little bit more where the fuck is my mom, and not to the masses, to the police and the FBI, because I think they've been feeding her jargon and not telling her what's in their whole family, Like I don't know. And again, I get cases take long time and I get cases, you know, thing, but I really feel like there was a lot of drama behind the scenes. That's what it feels like. I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong. I hope there's something going behind the scenes and it's getting cleaned up and we just have no idea about it. But I just feel like saying checking your resources, seeing what's available, consulting with people respectfully is not a bad thing. And I don't know what happened in the police force. Firemen don't have that problem. Like I said, I've briefly worked with both firemen and police on a surface level, but like thing. Firemen do, from my understanding, do not have that problem. They run through burning buildings. If they need resources, they don't have problems doing that. They, are there to do their job. And I don't know what's more braver than fucking running into a burning building to save people, right? Like, and then like dealing with people that are like freaking out and like they're like, you just have to like open the window, and they're like, no, like you know what I mean, like that, like, and they're just like, I don't think firemen get enough talked about. Everyone talks about police, but I think firemen are godsend as well. And I think that with police too, I just don't freaking know what happened in that culture that made it so hard for people in leadership roles, and then the people under them follow that leadership role, so it's a never ending pattern, just to say, hey, like, it's about the case, right? It's not about you, right? And then you getting that help early on was like, yeah, that was really fucking smart of him, like, because then we made more time, right? Like, and I don't think the crooks are as dumb as people are saying. Again, I'm not a detective. I am not a thing, but I don't think they're as dumb, right? I really don't. Maybe they don't know how to put their gun in the right holster. That don't mean they're dumb. Just because I didn't fucking know how to crawl on a wall in Hollow Knight does not mean I'm dumb, right? Like I know I'm smart in a lot of ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just because I don't know how to, I don't know. Like they kept going back to like, oh look, he didn't know how to put his gun in the holster. Like I'm sure the guy wasn't. If this is not what he usually does, that's the last thing he gives a fuck about. Like that doesn't mean he's dumb, right? So anyway, you know, And it's almost like they're like putting down the crook, and it's like, and maybe baiting them or trying to like thing, but at the same time it's like, be real with what you're dealing with, right? Be real with what you're dealing with. There's nothing wrong to saying, okay, this is something different, instead of trying to like bait them or call them dumb or try and say all these jargon so the public thinks they know what you're doing. No, they got one on you, and it wasn't just luck, and that's okay, but backtrack and pull all your resources and try and find this poor lady that I hope to God isn't scared, but still here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't want to get emotional with it. And again, this is not to all the police, because I watch a lot of body cam. I see what they see. I see the pain. Like, the day to day people that pull over someone that thinks that it's just a normal traffic stop, and then they find a fucking baby in the trunk of a car, at like, 11 o'clock at night, and going through trash and seeing a decomposing body, right, of a child. Like, no one should see that. No one should see that. And that's what they do see that. I don't think the leadership sees that as much anymore, though, right? So I don't think they understand. As far as you get farther and farther away, you forget the effects that the lower people, cops, are seeing every day. And then when it comes to the big cases, I hope to God it's not an ego thing, because if it's an ego thing, it it's it's not cool, man. It's not cool, and I don't know where the ego came from. I don't know what they've been through in their career that caused them to do the same thing, right? And saying, "Oh, I have this under control. I have this under control." And now it's like, we want answers, and then you just feed us jargon like a politician, right? Like, you're supposed to be on our side. You're not a politician. You are not a fucking politician. You're not a politician, right? You're not here to get votes. You're here to solve crimes. Um but yeah, again, there could be something so much more, and I'll just eat my words, but I even if this case doesn't turn out to be, I think the police still have an issue with their culture. I think that what they do is good work. Y'all are not politicians. All right. I don't know why I'm like actually like I'm lecturing someone, but that's just how I feel about this case, and it makes me sad, and that's why I kind of steered away from it. But that's how I feel. I'll probably go back to not doing updates on it, because there really hasn't been much. There's been evidence, and then they take back the evidence, and then there's been leads, and then they take back the leads, and it's just, I hope Nancy's family is getting sleep at least, right? Um and going where they feel spiritual and feel like, and trust their guts too. Trust their guts too. And sometimes you don't have to always be so freaking polite, right? All right. But that kind of gets me back to, uh, sorry, my boyfriend. He's been extra cute lately to me. Sorry, we've been happy lately. So, but he just came in and did like a little fist, like, yeah. But yeah, so again, I feel like with these podcasts, I feel like it sounds like I don't have respect. I do. I just feel like someone needs to come in there and sweep all the gunk away, because they have enough to deal with than corporate shit too, right? There should be a safe place at work for them, and I don't think there is. I don't think they get it from leadership. I don't think they get it from their buddies, because their buddies are too scared to get hurt from leaders and not show us different side, and then, you know what I mean? I think it's starting to get a little better, but they need to have a safe space in that organization, and I just don't think they fucking have it, bro. But I did want to discuss, because I recently posted a supernatural mini mystery, supernatural signals mini mystery, on my shorts tab. To be honest, I didn't feel like that was like my best thing. I kind of rushed it a little bit, but that's okay. I don't know. I started making it a longer video, then I made it a short, and just like, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but I got it done. So, but I like the concept of it, right? Because basically the concept is this woman gets murdered. You can watch the short for a quick summation. It's 3 minutes. But it's this woman gets murdered. And then one of her coworkers basically supposedly gets possessed, and basically by her coworker, and then they talk to the police, and the crime gets solved, right? And with the Guthrie case and with that type of case, it kind of like made me start thinking about how like the supernatural and the police departments and law enforcement and just in general like that, the government or whatever. I don't know. It's one of those things where, again, I feel like people more and more, I keep throwing her name out, but Patricia said it, right? It's like more and more people are going on their spiritual journey. More and more people are getting it into different ways and different avenues and stuff. And I do think it's interesting that I wonder if the next, not tomorrow, but the next 10, 15 years, whatever the case may be, decades or so, there will be a progression of that. And again, I'm not saying tomorrow, and I'm not saying if you feel like you have intuitive abilities to go bug the cops and say, I had a dream that there was a monkey, so and she must be at the zoo. Like, don't do that. Like, that's annoying as fuck. I'm sure they have enough to deal with. But like, I do think there might be eventually some crossover as both sides start becoming more accepting of each other. And I do think that's an interesting concept. But I also think that if what the rumors are true with the Nancy Guthrie case, where they didn't really want the FBI involved, well, they're probably not going to want welcome supernatural stuff involved too. So I do think that's an interesting conversation to kind of start having, if that's where it ends up going, where more and more people start getting more, I don't know, that the supernatural starts getting more accepted in everyday life, right? And again, I don't think that's going to happen right away, but you see it in TikTok, people are talking about it more. You see it on YouTube, people are talking about it more. You see about people like, even police just talking about therapy is like almost to me a step through like figuring this stuff out, going through their egos and their unconscious and their subconscious. To me, that's a step forward into the supernatural world, right? Because you find out more about yourself, you find out more about the universe, right? And so I really think it would be interesting to kind of see if that help would be appropriate. Now, I do think that the supernatural world, there's a lot of scammers out there, right? And I do think it would be stupid as F for them just to be like any psychic down the row being like, what do you think? And then she reads his card and she's like, she's in the ditch. Like, we don't want to do that. But if there's someone that has the ability, some people, right, to do that, especially women, because I think women are super intuitive, being able to accept that help, right? And like I said in that short, he didn't just accept in the short that I just explained, he didn't just accept what she said as face value, but he said, well, I already questioned this guy, I can't hurt again, let's just check if there's jewelry there, right? No, it didn't take a bunch of resources, it didn't take a bunch of hubbub, it didn't take a bunch of blah blah blah, and he was already a suspect, so let's do it like that, right? Like boundaries, like respectful, like, because if you do if you just take every willy-nilly, then that just ruins it for the rest of it, and then no one wants to do it again. You guys get what I'm saying, right? And so I do think that'll be an interesting thing, if that will ever be like accepted, you know what I mean, as more and more people kind of figure out what they're capable of, what they're not capable of, and not just like intuitive stuff like that, but just like, I don't know, being able to spot areas. Like, there's people I've seen on TikTok where they're like, they're located at this point in this area and this dot of the map, and you know what I mean, they're so good at that, navigating that stuff. I do think like they're accepting more like internet help and internet sleuths, if eventually, and again, I don't think it's going to be tomorrow, decades probably, there will be a shift with that type of help, right? Because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen, right? And what's going to be more accepted, right? It's just, it looks like how many things weren't accepted in 1950s, right, versus now, right? Certain people couldn't get married, which was bullshit. You know what I mean? People wouldn't accept that. It just wasn't allowed, right? Certain things weren't, so many things have expanded. And I do wonder if that is going to be something that's fully accepted. Maybe like it'll start coming where people are like, no, no, no. And there'll be like fights and things. And then finally it'll work its way into being something real, but it has to be valid, right? Um, that was a lot of jargon, a lot of talk, but let me move on, and I'm going to move on to actually some slight, maybe supernatural stuff. It's just a quick update on Buddy. So let me shift into that. Okay, so quick summation of what's going on with Buddy. Um, I've been experiencing subtle activity, which I will link a video that I did in January of kind of like all kind of a summation. There's been more stuff that happened since then, but it'll at least get you caught up if you're interested. But just to give you a little background on Buddy is a very sensitive dog. I haven't had him for more than a year. We got him in August. Well, we found him in August, or he found us, however you want to look at it. He is a very, I think anyone that has like pitties, these type of breeds, like they're so in tuned. And sometimes the conspiracy side of my brain feels like they get a certain reputation because people don't want them having these dogs because they are very in tuned. That's just my opinion. That's a little tinfoil hat for you today, but so he's the light of my life. Kitty and him are both the light of my life. They're both little. It's so funny because I joke with my boyfriend that I'm like, every animal I get are such little divas and such cuddle bugs and want all the attention all the time, and it's adorable. They're clingy as f, which I love, to be honest. But they turn into little divas because of that. But um, but Kitty's very intuitive too, and I think I'll do a video on her one day and just kind of like explaining how I know she's in tune because I talk about Buddy a lot, but I feel like since Buddy's been here, he's been more like taking that role a little bit, which kind of makes me happy. So Kitty can get more rest and not feel so thing. But again, this is how I feel. I feel like animals are very, very in tuned. So, um, with Buddy is in the main I got video cameras for my bedroom and for my living room to first see what my animals are doing when I'm not here, because Kitty usually just hangs out in my room and Buddy sometimes goes in my room or in the living room. And sometimes he likes to sleep in the living room, but there has been times where he gets scared to the point where he will run under. We have like a piano in the living room. He will run under there, and then I'll hear him, and then I'll open the door, and he will rush into my room. Right. And it's like not even a hesitation. And when he's not scared, he likes to sleep in the living room because there's a couch there. It's cooler. He can like watch the birds. Like he can, he can get up earlier. Like, he has his toys in there. Like I'll watch him when he's having a good night where he's just like playing with his toys and being his little buddy self, just doing his own thing. But and then sometimes he'll like a normal dog. So I'm just giving you so you have an idea of like the checks and balances, right? Or like the baseline. And then there's some nights where he'll just be, oh my gosh, sorry. His normal little dog, sorry, my computer just ugh. His normal little doggy self, and he'll be barking, right? Because he'll see something across the lake, or he'll see something scary, right? Not scary, but something where he's like, "Hey, bird!" Like if usually it's an animal, right? Or he'll see people across the street. How dare they do, um, doing something with their yard or something, right? And so he'll bark. And so I'll bring him in, and he will not want to go because he's like, I want to sleep in my thing, and I'll try and get to the couch where he'll try and maneuver. He's like, no, like you know what I mean? Like he likes to sleep on his couch. It's comfortable. He has a bed in my room, but at night he's not allowed to sleep on the bed because Kitty sleeps there. So he likes, whatever. He's sleeping on his bed in my room right now, but so y'all get the point, right? So it's like at night he would probably prefer to sleep in the living room, right? And like I said, and so continuing on, I got the camera because he started doing that weird activity I told you where he would get really scared and sneak in my room at night. And then there are other times where there was one time, I've said this many times before, but I'm just trying to keep people up or remind people. Um, there was another time where like he was outside and we keep the door open a crack, right, when we're doing stuff so he can just like walk in when he wants to after he's done playing outside. Well, one time he bashed into the door, looked at the wall, the fireplace, did this little and like ran into my room, just bolted into my room. Like he was scared. So he like ran in, turned left to the fireplace where his toys are and his bed is that's in the living room, and bolted in my room. And I was like, okay, there's something going on. And then I noticed like his toys would be in like weird patterns. It hasn't really happened in a while, but his toys would be like strategically placed like in triangle shapes and stuff like that. It was really weird. And I was like, okay, this is getting weird. And then again, I said this many times on his walks, we'll be going. He loves his little walkies. We'll be trotting out, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden he will stop and run back home. And no matter what I do, I cannot get him to go a different direction. I can't get him to think. He is bolting home, right? And we will get like a block, and he's so excited to take his walk before, and then something will sense him. Or some days he won't even want to go on his walk. He won't even want to go outside because he senses something, right? And it's not like an animal, because when he sees an animal, he barks at it. Like when he sees like a squirrel or a duck or anything that's like a normal animal, he's like, "Rah!" You know what I mean? He's a dog, right? So it's not an animal. So with all that said, yesterday I did catch some, nothing huge climatic, but I like to document these things because I feel like it adds up to something. Because like I said, sometimes the supernatural can be subtle, right? And start like kind of giving you signs of like life, right? And I got the blink camera, and so he was originally, I'm going to show you footage. He was originally on his bed. I looked at footage. He was sleeping on his bed. He didn't want to come in for the night. He was hyper yesterday. We were playing out. He's sleeping like a little baby today, but we was playing outside. We was whistling. Like, he likes to sleep on the porch, like kind of in the evening. So around like from 8 to like 11, like he'll sleep there, and then I'll let him in because he's not sleeping out there alone at night. Like, so he was living his best diva life yesterday. So I was like, he's in a good mood. He's not scared of the outside, because sometimes he won't even go in the backyard. That's how serious it is. He's like, no, we're staying inside, go to pop. Like, that's how he is. So I was like, he's having a good day. And so I was like, okay, you want to sleep in there? Because I called him in. I was like, because I always give him that option. I'm like, do you want to come into my bedroom? And he was like, no. I was like, okay, that's cool. So I get in for the night. I'm playing some video games. Kermit and I are chatting. And then all of a sudden, and I kept the light on in the hall because that also helps him too. Like, I don't know what it is, but the light seems to help him too. And so, all of a sudden, like, I hear like this little noise, these little footsteps. And I was like, is that Buddy? And I was like, like maybe it's not, because I don't hear it again. Because usually I'll hear like a little, he'll try and pounce into the door. And then I heard it again, and I was like, Kermie's like, yeah, let's go check. And I open the door, and he like rushes in again and curls up. And I know when he's scared, because he doesn't say, "Hey, mommy," and gives me a hug. He rushes to his bed and curls up, and then I cover him in a blanket and give him a toy, right? Because I don't want my baby fucking scared. So I went, and then this morning I was like, okay, well, I had the thought. I was like, well, let me go look at the footage to see what scared him. And you'll see he looks out the window, and he looks really cautious. He gets out of his bed. I don't know if I download that clip because it's just him getting out of bed, like walking around. But then he looks out the window. He won't go back to his bed where I told you there's activity. Like, it's like he doesn't want to. Then he looks out the window, and like I said, he will bark at like 3 in the morning if he sees, like, wake up the house, and that's when I drag him into bed, like I explained earlier. He didn't bark. He was quiet. He saw something. He backs away, and then he tries to get into my room, and then I let him in my room. So sorry, I'm getting emotional because that's my baby, and I don't like things that are scaring. Like, I want to share it, but it's also like I don't like my baby scared, right? Like, so I know it's my girly time, but but like, and he's like visibly scared because, like I said, there's a difference between owners know difference between their doggy bark, like, where they're just having fun, and they're like, barking at something like, get away from my house, like, like bark, and then they know they're like evil, like, back off or I'm gonna hurt you growl, right? Which, you know, thing, and like protective growl, let's put it that way, versus his burr, 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 which he does when he sees like something else, like like I said, a bird or something like that. And then there's like his quiet. And when he's quiet and he's backed up, he'll do that on his walks too. He'll shrink. It's different. It's not like he gets angry. It's not like he shrinks and he runs back home. And he does the same thing. It's like he gets scared, and not scared of sense of like or mean growl or fun growl or yip or something like that. It's he looks scared, and then he runs to the room and curls up. And I don't know. People know, just like, like your kids, right? A different type of cry from your kid where they're just like whining with their friends versus, oh my God, I'm scared. Like, run to your child, right? Like, I don't know. That's how I felt with it. And it it upsets me because I don't want my dog scared, but I also want him to be able to like live his life because he likes to hang out in the living room at night. So um but don't worry, like anytime he wants to come in my room, he's coming in my room, right? Um but yeah, so that's the update. I will post the videos. I'm going to close this out now, and at the end, you'll see the videos. But other than that, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope my police rant wasn't too offensive because I know the police do good work. I really want to justify that. I really want to. They do good work. I just think there's a culture problem there, and I don't think I'm the only one, right? But anyway, hope everyone's getting good rest and are doing good and doing something fun and staying safe. And thank you for listening. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.